My precious one, I am speaking to you right now, in this very moment, and I need you to stay present with every word I place before you. Do not move past this voice. Do not allow the noise of the world to pull your attention away from what I am revealing to you, because what I am about to share carries weight that extends far beyond what you can see with your natural eyes. This is not an ordinary moment. This is a divinely appointed encounter, prepared specifically for you, for this exact breath you are taking right now. I am not speaking to you from a distance. I am speaking from the very place where your spirit and my love meet, from the innermost chamber of your being, where truth cannot be twisted and my voice cannot be confused with anything else. Stay here, my beloved. Do not rush. What I am about to tell you will not only protect you from what is forming ahead, it will reposition your entire path. I have watched you, my cherished child. I have seen every step you have taken, every door you have opened, every decision you have wrestled with in the quiet hours when no one else was present. I know the weight of what you have been carrying, and I know the places where confusion has settled like a fog over your direction. But more than that, I know what is ahead of you. I see what you cannot yet see. I perceive what is still hidden beneath the surface of your circumstances. And there is something forming around you right now that requires my intervention before it takes full shape. This is why I have called you here. This is why this moment feels different from others, because it is. I am not simply offering comfort today. I am offering you warning wrapped in love, protection wrapped in truth, and I am offering it now before the moment arrives where you would need to learn through pain what I am willing to teach you through my voice. Hear me clearly, my precious one. There is a situation approaching your life that carries hidden weight beneath an ordinary appearance. It may look like an opportunity. It may carry the shape of something you have been waiting for. It may arrive in the form of a connection, a decision, or a path that seems open and promising. But I am telling you now, with the certainty of one who sees all endings from all beginnings, that what lies beneath the surface of this approaching moment carries the seeds of loss, confusion, and pain if you walk into it without my guidance protecting your steps. I am not saying this to frighten you, my beloved. I am saying this because I love you far too deeply to allow you to walk blindly into something I can already see clearly. The warning you feel rising within your spirit right now is not fear trying to trap you. It is my love trying to reach you before something unfolds that you were never meant to carry. You have felt something recently, have you not, my child? A quiet unease in moments that should have felt peaceful. A subtle hesitation before a decision that part of you wanted to push through without pausing. A flicker of something within your spirit that urged you to slow down, to think again, to not move quite yet. I saw those moments. I placed those stirrings within you, and I watched as you pushed them aside, not out of rebellion, but because you did not yet understand their source. I am not bringing this to condemn you for the times you did not listen. I am bringing it to your attention now so that you will recognize my voice the next time it speaks, because the next time is almost here. The next moment of decision is closer than you think, and what you choose in that moment will shape far more than what is immediately in front of you. There are paths in this life that carry consequences invisible at their beginning, my precious one. There are connections that look like blessings but hold hidden instability beneath their surface. There are choices that feel urgent that press upon you with a sense that you must act now, that you must decide immediately, that you will miss something if you pause even for a breath. But I am telling you today that urgency is not always my signal. Pressure is not always my prompting. The situation that is forming around you may carry exactly that kind of urgency, a sense that you must commit, agree, or step forward before you have taken the time to hear my voice clearly. I am asking you to resist that pressure. I am asking you to remember in that moment that I am ahead of you, that I already see where that path leads, and that if it were truly from me, it would carry peace, not pressure. It would invite patience, not demand haste. Declare your amen if you have faith. My beloved, I have watched you carry weight that was never designed for your shoulders. I have seen how you have taken on the expectations of others, the burden of outcomes you cannot control, the silent anxiety of a future that feels uncertain. And I want you to hear me when I say this. You were not built for that kind of carrying. I created you for something altogether different. I created you to walk in the kind of awareness that sees clearly, that moves with wisdom rather than impulse, that chooses direction over reaction. But to walk in that awareness, you must first release the habit of moving through life on the momentum of circumstance alone. You must learn to pause. You must learn to become still, even when everything around you is calling you to rush. Because it is in that stillness, my cherished child, that I can speak most clearly, that I can redirect your steps before they carry you somewhere I never intended you to go. There is something you have been holding on to, my child, something that once felt necessary, but has begun to lose its hold on your peace. It may be a habit of the mind, a way of responding to difficulty that once protected you, but now keeps you cycling through the same patterns. It may be a connection or an attachment that has become familiar through time, even as it quietly drains your sense of direction and calm. I am bringing this to the surface for you now, not to shame you, but to set you free from it before the approaching situation uses it against you. Because what is forming ahead will try to find its way in through the very places where you are still holding what needs to be released. Let it go, my precious one. What you surrender to me will not be lost. It will be transformed. What you entrust to my keeping will not be diminished. It will be returned to you in a form that strengthens rather than burdens. There is a pattern I need you to see, my beloved. It is a pattern of moving forward when something within you signals hesitation, of overriding the quiet counsel of your spirit, because the momentum of a situation feels stronger than the still, small voice I use to guide you. I have watched this pattern play out in your life, across different seasons, in different forms, but rooted in the same place. A moment where urgency felt louder than wisdom, and you stepped forward before the path was fully clear. I am not rehearsing your past to trouble you with it, my cherished child. I am showing it to you because that same dynamic is about to present itself again. And this time, I am asking you to respond differently. This time, I am asking you to let your trust in my voice be louder than the pressure of the moment. When you feel the urgency rising, when something seems to demand your agreement before you have had time to breathe and listen, that is precisely the moment to pause. That is the exact instant to become still. That is when you must turn inward and ask me whether the direction you are being pulled toward is truly where I am leading. My precious one, I am also speaking to you about what surrounds you, about the voices, influences, and connections that shape the environment in which you make your decisions. Not everyone who speaks into your life carries intentions that are fully aligned with your well-being. Not every path that presents itself as open has been prepared by me. There are situations forming in your immediate surroundings that carry the appearance of reliability, but hold hidden instability at their core. I am not asking you to move through the world in suspicion, my beloved. I am asking you to move through it in discernment, which is something altogether different. Discernment does not close the heart. It sharpens the spirit. It allows you to receive what is genuinely good while recognizing what only wears the clothing of goodness. I am strengthening that discernment within you now, in this very moment, so that when you stand before the decision that is approaching, you will not be deceived by what is only on the surface. Stake, I trust. There is also a need, my cherished child, for you to guard carefully what you reveal and to whom you reveal it in the coming days. What you carry in your spirit, the hopes you have held quietly, the plans you have been forming, the direction you have been sensing, these are sacred things, and they are not meant to be placed carelessly before those who do not understand their worth. There will be those around you who misunderstand your growth, not because they mean you harm, but because they are still navigating from a place that cannot fully perceive what I am building within you. Move with wisdom in this season. Share your spirit carefully. What you protect in this time of formation will emerge stronger and more complete than if you had exposed it prematurely to environments that were not ready to receive it. My beloved, I also need you to understand that the tragedy I speak of is not always a single dramatic moment. It does not always arrive with noise and speed. Sometimes it unfolds slowly through choices that each seem small in isolation, but that taken together carry a weight that reshapes your path in ways you did not anticipate. A connection that gradually drains your peace. A habit of thinking that slowly moves you further from the clarity I intend for you. A pattern of rushing past my warnings that eventually brings you to a place of difficulty that could have been entirely avoided if you had simply paused and listened when I first called your name. I am calling your name now, my precious one. I am calling it with urgency wrapped in love, with warning wrapped in protection, with a voice that knows you completely and desires only what is truly good for your soul. Do not misread the weight of this moment as condemnation. It is the opposite. I do not warn those I have abandoned. I do not speak with urgency into lives I have turned away from. The very fact that you are hearing this voice, that something within you recognizes the truth being placed before you and will not let you move past it easily, is itself proof that I am present, that I am active in your life, that I have not released you to walk into what is forming without first placing a shield of understanding around your spirit. My involvement in your path is not passive, my child. I do not merely observe from a distance and offer comfort after something difficult has already happened. I step in beforehand. I place warnings before crossroads. I speak clearly before the moment of decision arrives, so that when you face it, you do not face it as someone who was never told. You face it as someone who was prepared. Now, hear this, my precious one, and let it settle deeply within you. The warning you are receiving today is not the end of the conversation I am having with you. It is the beginning of a deeper walk, a walk where you move not by impulse, but by discernment, a walk where the voice within you becomes clearer and more trusted with every step you take. I am not only rescuing you from what is approaching, I am teaching you in this very moment how to move through the rest of your life in a way that makes the kind of pain I am protecting you from less and less possible. Because when you learn to listen, when you learn to pause, when you learn to honor the quiet voice of your spirit over the noise of urgency and the pull of desire, you build a kind of inner compass that no circumstance can steal from you. And that compass, my beloved, will serve you long after today. Declare, I believe, my cherished child, there is something approaching your path that will test your patience, and I want you to be prepared for it. It may arrive as a delay, as an outcome that does not unfold on the timeline you expected, as an answer that does not come when you feel it should. In that moment, there will be a temptation to take matters into your own hands, to force a resolution, to act without waiting for my full direction, simply because the waiting has grown uncomfortable. I understand that discomfort, my precious one. I do not ask you to wait without acknowledging that waiting is difficult, but I am telling you clearly that what is in motion beneath the surface of your circumstances is being arranged by my hand, and that any attempt to rush what I am carefully aligning will disrupt rather than accelerate the good I am working toward in your life. The delay you feel is not abandonment, it is preparation, and preparation is never wasted time. I have also been watching the ways in which certain things have been quietly losing their hold over you, and I want you to know that this is not accidental. There are patterns, attachments, and ways of thinking that have been falling away, sometimes gently, and sometimes with a sense of loss you did not fully understand. Some of what you have been releasing felt like parts of yourself, and the releasing of it felt disorienting rather than freeing. But I want you to see those moments differently, my beloved. What has been falling away from your life has been making room. It has been creating space within you for something of far greater quality, something more deeply aligned with who I created you to be and where I am now leading you. Do not reach back for what is left. Trust the clearing that is taking place. The field that has been turned over is not a sign of loss. It is the ground being prepared for a planting that will bear fruit in a way the old growth never could. You must also begin to understand the difference between what you desire and what is right for you, my precious one. Desire is a powerful force, and it has a way of making things appear more valuable than they truly are. There are things you may want deeply that would bring you pain if you received them in the form they currently hold. There are connections you may feel drawn toward that carry hidden costs your heart has not yet calculated. I am not asking you to suppress your desires. I am asking you to bring them to me, to hold them before my sight, to allow me to show you which of them are rooted in what I have prepared for you, and which are rooted in a need that I am actually trying to heal in a different way. When you learn to do this, my cherished child, you will stop reaching for what looks right and start receiving what truly is right, and that difference will reshape the entire texture of your life. There is something within your environment, my beloved, that has been quietly shaping your thoughts and your responses without you being fully aware of it. It may be the voices you allow to speak most frequently into your life. It may be the patterns of thought you return to most habitually when situations become uncertain. It may be a presence in your immediate surroundings that carries an energy which is not aligned with the clarity and peace I intend for you. I'm bringing this to your awareness now in this moment, because you cannot step away from what you have not first recognized. When you see clearly what has been influencing you beneath the surface, you gain the power to choose differently. You gain the freedom to step out of what has been shaping you without your full consent, and to begin deliberately, and with my guidance, to build the kind of inner and outer environment that supports the life I have designed for you. My child, I want to speak now about the coming moment of decision, because it is closer than you have realized, and I want you to be completely ready when it arrives. You will feel a pull in two directions. One direction will feel familiar, comfortable, and immediately available. It will feel like the easier choice, the path of less resistance, the option that does not require you to step into uncertainty or to trust something you cannot yet fully see. The other direction will require something from you. It will ask you to be patient when patience is hard. It will ask you to release control in an area where control has felt like safety. It will ask you to trust my leading even when the destination is not yet visible. And I am telling you now with complete certainty, my precious one, that the second direction is the one I am asking you to take. Not because difficulty is always the sign of my will, but because in this specific moment, the comfortable choice is the one that leads directly into the situation I have been warning you about. State, I receive this today. Now, my beloved child, I want to speak to you about something that runs deeper than the immediate warning I have placed before you. I want to speak to you about the kind of life I have always intended for you. The life that exists on the other side of this season of learning. The fullness I have been preparing you for through every difficulty, every moment of stillness, every time you chose to listen when it would have been easier to turn away. You were not created for a diminished existence, my precious one. You were not formed to spend your days managing one crisis after another, moving from one avoidable difficulty to the next, perpetually surprised by things I was already trying to show you. That kind of life is not what I purposed for you. I purposed you for something greater, something that requires the very awareness I am building in you now, something that will only be possible when you have learned to walk with me in the kind of close, attentive partnership that makes the warning unnecessary because you are already listening before the crossroads arrives. There are good things ahead of you, my cherished child, things I have been preparing long before you were aware they were being prepared. There are moments of clarity coming that will feel like the lifting of a weight you did not even fully know you were carrying. There are connections being aligned that carry genuine substance, real depth, the kind of mutual strength that does not drain you, but builds you. There are doors being prepared that I will open in the fullness of the right time. And when they will open with a sense of rightness that needs no forcing, no second-guessing, no wondering whether you manufactured the opportunity yourself. They will simply be open, and you will walk through them, knowing with complete assurance that I have placed them before you. But the path to those moments runs through this one. The road to what I am bringing passes directly through the decision that is approaching. And the choice you make now, the choice to listen, to pause, to trust my voice over the urgency of the moment, is what positions you to receive everything I have been preparing. My beloved, I also want to address something you may have been quietly wondering. Perhaps in those early morning hours when your thoughts are most honest, perhaps in the still moments before sleep arrives, you have wondered whether I truly see you. You have wondered in your most unguarded moments whether your life is visible to me, whether the details of your daily struggle, the small decisions, the quiet fears, the hopes you have been afraid to speak aloud, whether any of it truly reaches me. And I want to answer you with the same clarity with which the heavens are certain of the sunrise. Yes, my precious one, I see every detail. Not in the distant, observational way of one who watches from afar, but in the intimate, complete way of one who is present in the very center of your experience. I am not a distant presence who requires you to shout to be heard. I am as near as your next breath. I am as present as the heartbeat you do not have to think about to sustain. I am closer than the air you breathe, and more attentive to you than you have yet allowed yourself to fully believe. This is why the warning carries such weight, my child. Not because what is approaching is more powerful than I am. It is not. Not because the tragedy forming ahead of you cannot be redirected. It can. But because my love for you refuses to stand silent while you walk towards something avoidable. My love for you insists on speaking even when speaking requires me to interrupt your momentum, even when receiving what I am saying requires you to pause something that felt certain, even when trusting my voice means releasing something Your hands were already beginning to hold. I will always choose your protection over your temporary comfort. I will always choose your long-term peace over your immediate sense of ease. And I will always speak the truth you need to hear over the agreement that would feel better in the moment but serve you poorly in the days ahead. My cherished one, I am asking you now to respond to this moment with more than your attention. I am asking you to respond with a tangible act of faith, a deliberate release that proves your trust is not merely a feeling, but a decision you are willing to make visible. Bring forth a portion of what you hold, a seed planted on the altar of this work, an offering pressed into the stone foundation of my kingdom. When you release this from your hands and place it into mine, you break the grip that holding too tightly has had on your abundance. The windows that have felt sealed will begin to open. The provision I have been preparing will have the pathway it needs to reach you. This is not a transaction. It is a declaration. It is your spirit saying aloud what your heart already knows, that you trust me more than you trust the security of what you can hold in your own hands. There is a strengthening taking place within you right now, my precious one, and I want you to be aware of it even as you receive these words. Something is shifting in the deep places of your spirit, in the places where old fears have lived, where old patterns have set their roots, where confusion has historically made its home. I am moving in those places. I am not moving with force or disruption. I am moving with the quiet authority of one who has the right to be there, the right to rearrange what is settled wrongly, the right to plant what belongs in the spaces where what did not belong has been removed. You may not feel this shifting dramatically. It may feel more like a gradual clarity, a slow warming of something that had grown cold, a quiet certainty rising in places where uncertainty has been the dominant experience. But it is real, it is happening, and it will continue to happen as you continue to align your trust with my voice. My beloved child, let me speak plainly to you about fear, because fear has been a more consistent companion in your journey than I ever intended it to be. It has spoken to you in the voice of caution when what it truly represented was the voice of doubt. It has presented itself as wisdom when what it truly was a barrier to the steps I was calling you to take. There is a difference, my precious one, between the holy caution that comes from my spirit and the fearful hesitation that comes from wounds not yet fully healed. My caution carries peace within it. It says, wait with confidence. It says, trust without anxiety. It says, hold back not because the future is dangerous, but because the timing is not yet complete. Fear, by contrast, carries no peace. It says, wait because you are not enough. It says, hold back because you will fail. It says, trust no one and nothing because the past has taught you not to. I am asking you to learn to tell the difference, my child. When you hear a voice urging you to pause, ask whether it carries peace. If it does, it is mine. If it carries dread, it belongs to something I am working to remove from your life. There is also a conversation approaching, my cherished one, an interaction that will carry emotional weight and will try to pull you toward a response rooted in what you feel rather than what you know to be right. It may come from a direction you do not anticipate. It may arrive through words that touch an old wound, or through silence that feels like confirmation of a fear you have been trying to set aside. I am preparing you for this moment right now, in this very instant, so that when it comes, you are not caught off guard, so that you do not react from the wounded place, but respond from the grounded place. Pause before you speak. Breathe before you decide. Return in that moment to what you know to be true, not to what the emotion of the moment is telling you. Your response will carry more power than you realize, and the direction of what follows will be shaped by the quality of the awareness you bring to that exchange. My precious one, I also want to speak to you about patience, because patience is not merely the absence of action. Patience, in the truest spiritual sense, is an active posture. It is the deliberate decision to remain anchored in trust while circumstances shift around you. It is the choice to hold steady in the knowledge of who I am and what I have promised, even when the evidence visible to your natural senses is not yet confirming those promises. The season you are in is one that requires this kind of active patience. Things are in motion that you cannot yet perceive. Alignments are taking place beneath the surface of what is visible. Good things are being prepared and positioned that will only be accessible to you when the groundwork I am laying has been fully completed. Your patience in this period is not passive waiting. It is your participation in the preparation. It is your act of faith that the preparation is real and that the promise it is preparing you for is coming. Declare your amen if you have faith. My beloved child, there is a broader picture I want you to begin to see, because you have been navigating your life with a view that is narrower than the one I am inviting you into. You have been looking at individual situations, individual decisions, individual moments of difficulty or relief, and experiencing each of them as largely separate events. But I want you to know that nothing in your journey has been without connection. Every step you have taken, every barrier you encountered, every person who came and every person who left, every season of abundance and every season of apparent lack, all of it has been woven together with intention. Nothing has been random. Nothing has been accidental. The very challenges that felt most disconnected from any meaningful purpose were in my sight among the most significant formations of the person I am now calling you to be. You're not a collection of isolated experiences, my precious one. You are a continuous, purposeful story that I have been writing with care and intention from before the first chapter began. And now, in this moment, you are standing at a place in that story that matters more than many of the chapters before it. The decision in front of you, the awareness you are choosing to cultivate, the voice you are choosing to honor over the noise of urgency and pressure, these choices are chapter-turning moments. They are the kind of moments that do not merely resolve a single situation, but redirect an entire arc. I am not being dramatic when I tell you that what you choose to do with what I am placing before you today will echo far into your future. I am telling you the truth, with the clarity of one who can see that future fully, who has already seen how every possible version of this unfolds, and who is choosing to speak now, because the version I have designed for you, the version that brings the fullness and the peace and the purpose you have been waiting for, that version requires you to hear this voice and trust it today. My cherished child, there are things you have quietly set aside, hopes and desires you once carried openly, but have learned to hold more carefully because disappointment taught you that hope can be a painful thing to carry. I see those buried hopes, my beloved. I know each one of them by name, and I want you to hear me say plainly that their time has not passed. The things you thought were lost to timing or to choices made in seasons of lower awareness, they are not beyond my reach. What seems long delayed is not permanently denied. What appears to have been buried by circumstance still holds life within it, because I placed that life there. And nothing that occurs in the visible world can remove what I have planted in the eternal realm of my intention for your life. But to receive the fullness of what I have been keeping for you, you must first step through this moment with the awareness I am giving you now. You must walk past what is approaching with the discernment that keeps you from the detour and keeps you on the road I have prepared. This is why the warning matters so deeply. It is not only protecting you from something, it is also preserving your path toward everything. My precious one, let me speak now about what happens after you walk through this moment in awareness and alignment with my direction, because I want you to have a vision of what is on the other side of this crossroads, not as something distant and abstract, but as something real and approaching, something being actively prepared for your arrival. On the other side of the choice I am asking you to make, there is a deepening of peace that you have not yet fully experienced. There is a sense of settledness in your spirit that does not depend on circumstances being arranged perfectly around you, but that comes from the deepest place of knowing that you are held, directed, and protected by one who is entirely good and entirely capable. There is a clarity of purpose that will begin to emerge more consistently, a growing sense of why you are here and what your life is meant to contribute. There is an alignment of relationships, resources, and opportunities that I have been orchestrating in ways you could not have manufactured for yourself, and that will begin to become visible as you step fully into the direction I am pointing you toward. But more than any of those specific outcomes, my beloved, what awaits you on the other side of this moment of trust is a closer walk with me, a relationship with my voice and my presence that is less dependent on dramatic moments of intervention like this one, and more characterized by the daily, ordinary intimacy of a spirit that has learned to listen continuously. I do not want you to need moments like this one to find your way. I want you to know my voice well enough that I can guide you in the quiet, ordinary hours, in the small decisions that do not feel significant, in the habits and patterns of daily life where the greatest formation of your character and the clearest expression of your purpose actually take place. This moment is an invitation into that kind of life. my cherished child. Not just rescue from what is approaching, but the beginning of a different way of walking altogether. Now, my precious one, I want to address the resistance that may be rising within you as you receive these words. There is a part of you that has grown cautious. I honor that discernment in you. It is not the enemy of faith. It is a faculty I gave you, and it serves you. But I also want to speak to the deeper place within you, the place that recognized something true in these words, even before your analytical mind had time to evaluate them. The place where something stirred and said, "This is real." The place where a quiet recognition arose that was not manufactured and not arrived at through reasoning alone. Trust that place, my beloved. That is the dwelling of my spirit within you. That is where my voice makes its home. And that place knows the difference between what is real and what is not, even when the mind is still working out its assessment. My cherished child, I am asking you to make a decision today. Not a dramatic, sweeping declaration, though declarations of faith are powerful and I welcome them, but a quiet, firm, internal decision that when the approaching moment arrives, you will pause, you will breathe, you will remember that I am ahead of you, that I already see where this path leads, and that my voice and my direction are more trustworthy than the urgency of the moment or the appeal of what looks immediately available and convenient. That quiet decision made in this moment is itself an act of faith that will carry real consequences. It will position you differently when you arrive at the crossroads. It will give you a frame of reference when the pressure rises. It will remind you in the heat of the moment that you were already warned, that you already made a choice about how you would respond, and that honoring that choice is honoring your relationship with me. My beloved, you have carried so much alone. You have shouldered things in silence that were heavy enough to require help, and you have done it without complaint, without demanding that the weight be acknowledged, without making your struggle the loudest thing in every room. I see that, my precious one. I have always seen it. And I want to tell you something that I need you to receive, not just hear. You do not have to keep doing it that way. The burden of navigating every uncertainty alone, of making every decision with only your own limited perspective, of protecting yourself from every potential harm through the force of your own vigilance alone. That burden was never mine for you. I am a partner to your journey, not a distant observer of it. And the closer you draw to my voice, the more that weight distributes between us, in the way it was always intended to. You bring the willingness, the trust, the attentiveness. I bring the vision, the protection, the direction, and the provision. Together, my child, we navigate this in a way that neither of us would accomplish as effectively alone. State, I trust. There is something I want you to notice as this season unfolds, my precious one, and that is the way certain things that once had power over you are beginning to lose it. Fears that once dictated your decisions are becoming quieter. Patterns that once felt inescapable are showing cracks of light. Habits of thinking that once felt like the only possible way of processing difficulty are revealing themselves as options rather than inevitabilities. This is not accidental, my beloved. This is the fruit of the work I have been doing within you through every season of this journey, including the difficult ones. Perhaps especially the difficult ones. I have been dismantling structures that limited you and building in their place something stronger, something more aligned with the person I created you to be. You are not the same as you were 2 years ago. You are not the same as you were 6 months ago. And you will not be the same person 6 months from now that you are today. Growth is happening, my cherished child. Trust it, cooperate with it. Do not reach back for the old ways out of comfort or familiarity. Step into what is being built within you. My child, I also want to speak to you about the moments that have felt like delays in my response to your prayers and your longings. I know there have been times when you asked with all of the sincerity of your spirit, and the answers seemed not to come. When the silence stretched long enough to raise questions you were afraid to voice. I want you to hear me clearly on this. My silence has never been absence. My apparent delays have never been neglect. There is not a single prayer you have offered that did not reach me. Not a single longing of your heart that I did not perceive fully and with complete understanding. What I have not always granted immediately was not withheld from indifference, but shaped by the same love that is speaking to you now. The answer I prepared for many of those prayers required a season of formation in you before it could be received without harming what it was meant to bless. It required the very work I have been doing, the very growth you have been undergoing, to create the capacity within you to hold what I was preparing. The answer was never lost, my precious one. It was being kept until you were ready to receive it fully. And now, in this season, you are becoming more ready than you have yet been. The awareness I am cultivating within you, the discernment I am sharpening, the trust I am inviting you to deepen, all of it is creating a capacity for receiving what I have been preparing. This is why this moment matters so much, not only as a warning about what is approaching, but as a formation of what is growing. The same attentiveness that will protect you from the situation forming ahead is the attentiveness that will allow you to receive what I have been keeping for the season that follows. You cannot have one without the other, my beloved. The protection and the provision are linked. The discernment that keeps you from what would harm you is the same discernment that leads you to what will bless you. Learn the lesson of this moment fully, and you will not only avoid what I am warning you about, you will step into a season of receiving that has been waiting for exactly this quality of spirit to emerge in you. My precious one, I want to close this part of our conversation by speaking to you about what I see when I look at you. Not what you see in your most self-critical moments, not the version of yourself that emerges when comparison or shame is the lens, but what I see with the eyes of the one who formed you and who has never once seen you as anything less than entirely worthy of love, entirely capable of growth, entirely precious in my sight. I see someone who has carried difficulty with more grace than they have acknowledged. I see someone whose desire for what is right has remained steady even when the path to it was not clear. I see someone who is standing at a moment of real significance, not because they have arrived at a place of perfection, but because they have arrived at a place of readiness, a readiness to listen more deeply, a readiness to trust more fully, a readiness to walk into the next season with the kind of clear-eyed, grounded awareness that I have been building toward through every chapter of their story. That is you, my cherished child. That is who I see, and that is who I am calling forward in this moment. Not the version of you limited by old fears or shaped by old wounds, not the version of you that does not yet trust the sound of my voice, but the version of you that is being revealed through this very conversation, the one who recognizes truth when it speaks, the one who is willing to pause and listen even when everything around them calls for movement, the one who is choosing right now, in this moment, to honor the relationship between my voice and their spirit. That version of you is the one I have always known was here. That version of you is the one I am now calling out into the fullness of the life I have been preparing. Do not be afraid of what is approaching, my precious one. Walk toward it with the clarity I have given you, with the discernment I have sharpened within you, with the awareness that you are not walking into it blindly or alone. I am with you. I have already seen how this unfolds when you walk in alignment with my direction, and what I have seen is good. What I have seen is a spirit stepping through a moment of testing with grace and emerging on the other side into something larger and more beautiful than what they left behind. That is the story I have written for you. That is the chapter being written right now. And every word of it is working together for your good, my beloved, held in the hand of one who loves you more deeply than any telling could contain. Declare your amen if you have faith. We run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.